Hi boys and girls, Miss.G here, and today I have Mr. Bo with me, my buddy. He's eating some fresh strawberries that I picked from him from our garden bed. Alright, today we're going to be reading the story, Kate and the Beanstalk. Written by Mary Pope and illustrated by Gisselle Potter. Long ago, a girl named Kate lived with her mother in a humble cottage. One day, after a hard winter, Kate's mother was in despair. "Oh, we are sure to die from hunger," she said, "unless we sell our only cow to get money for food." Kate was a plucky girl who loved to help. "Don't worry," she said, giving her mother a hug. "I'll take care of everything." And she set out for the market with their cow. On the way, Kate met a beggar holding a small sack. "Magic beans," the beggar said in a creaky voice. "How extraordinary," said Kate when she saw them for the first time. Brown beans shone like dark gold. "I don't think I could live without them." "They can be yours in exchange for your cow," said the beggar. Without another thought, Kate traded her cow for the beans and rushed home to give them to her mother. But, to Kate's surprise, her poor mother was horrified. "Our only hope is gone," she cried. "Now we will surely starve." And she tossed the beans out the window. Hungry and forlorn, Kate went to bed. During the night, Kate couldn't sleep. She got up and crept into the moonlit garden. She gasped, for in the darkest corner, a giant beanstalk rose into the sky. It rose higher and higher and higher, and still it disappeared behind the clouds. "Does it never end?" whispered Kate. Without waiting for morning, Kate began climbing the beanstalk. She climbed and climbed, up and up and up and up. When Kate reached the top, light was creeping into the gray sky. Through a misty haze, she saw the most astonishing sight. Above the clouds was a countryside with fine woods, a crystal stream, a rolling sheep meadow, and a mighty castle. As Kate stared in wonder, an old woman hobbled out of the woods. "Hello," said Kate. "Is that your castle home?" "No, my dear," the woman replied. "It once belonged to a noble knight and his fair wife. They had a small infant and many treasures. But one day, a monstrous giant came to steal from them. He killed the good man and took over his castle." "How dreadful," said Kate. "Fortunately, the knight's wife and baby were visiting in the valley," said the old woman. "Afraid to return home, the grieving widow stayed below to raise her child. But alas, now they are very poor and close to starving." "That's so sad," said Kate. "Sadder than you know, my dear," replied the old woman. She looked deeply into Kate's eyes. "Perhaps you are the one, right? The terrible wrongs that have occurred." "Me?" said Kate. "Are you afraid?" "I don't think so. I fear nothing when I'm doing right. How can I help?" said Kate. "The knight had 3 precious treasures: a hen that lays golden eggs, a bag filled with gold coins, and the most wondrous harp in the world," said the old woman. "If you find these and return them to the knight's widow, then she and her child will not die from hunger." Kate took a deep breath. "I shall try," she said. Kate bid farewell to the old woman, then strode across the sheep meadow. As she approached the castle, a giantess lunged into the early morning light. "Help me!" the huge woman roared. "My husband makes me cook the cock's crow to the owl's hoot. Whenever I hire servants, he gobbles them up." "I'll be your servant," said Kate, "but you must hide me from the giant." Kate helped the giantess make breakfast until the sun came up. When she heard the giant coming down the hall, she trembled with fear. His footsteps sounded like the booms of a cannon. "Hide," whispered the giantess, and she pushed Kate into the closet. Peeking through the keyhole, Kate watched and listened.
"I smell the blood of an Englishwoman. Be she alive, or be she dead, I'll grind her bones to make my bread."
"Don't be silly," said the giantess. "You only smell the wagon load of bacon I fried for your breakfast,"
"Oh,"
said the giant. When the giant finished eating, he said,
"bring me the knight's hen."
The giantess brought out a small brown hen.
"Lay."
Ordered the giant. And then the little hen laid a golden egg.
"Ha ha 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 ha!"
Roared the giant.
"I love my little stolen hen."
Then he put down his head and fell asleep, snoring as loud as thunder. Ever so quietly, Kate crept out of the closet. She grabbed the hen and rushed from the castle. She ran across the sheep meadow to the beanstalk. Down and down and down she climbed and climbed and climbed until she landed kerplop in the garden. Kate sighed with relief. "It's better if Mother doesn't know of the danger I've been in," she whispered to the hen. "Stay here until I can return you to the knight's poor widow." Kate hid the hen behind a bush, then slipped back inside her house. Kate knew she must disguise herself to return to the castle. That night, she dressed in a wig and a beard, crept out in the moonlit garden, and climbed up the beanstalk again. Kate climbed and climbed and climbed, up and up and up and up. Wow, do you even recognize Kate anymore? She looks completely different. That's a good disguise, huh? In the light before dawn, Kate crossed the sheep meadow and knocked on the castle door. When the giantess came, and she roared, "Help me! I need a servant. The last one stole our hen and ran away." All happened as before. Kate helped the giantess make breakfast until the sun came up. When they heard the giant's booming footsteps and bellowing voice, the giantess hid Kate in the closet.
"I smell the blood of an Englishwoman. Be she alive, or be she dead, I'll grind her bones to make my bread."
"Calm down," said the giantess. "You only smell the mountain of hash I made for your breakfast,"
"Oh,"
said the giant. When the giant finished eating, he said,
"bring me the knight's money bag."
The giantess brought out a bag filled with gold coins, and the giant greedily counted them. He roared.
I love my little stolen coins.
Soon, the giant's head began to nod. Kate watched him fall asleep. Then she crept out and grabbed the money. She ran out of the castle and across the sheep meadow to the Beanstalk. Down and down and down. She climbed and climbed and climbed and climbed until she landed kerplop in the garden. Goodness, said Kate. What a day! I must hide these coins until I can return them to the knight's poor widow. Kate hid the money bag with the hen, then slipped back inside her house. That night, Kate disguised herself once again and started up the beanstalk. She climbed and climbed and climbed up and up and up. Let's look at Kate's disguise this time. At the very bottom here, you can see her little cottage house down here. She ran across the sheep meadow, and just as the sun came up, she knocked on the castle door. When the giantess came out, she grabbed Kate and cried, "Help me! I need a servant. The last one stole our money bag and ran away." Again, all happened as before. Kate helped the giantess make breakfast. Soon, the giant's footsteps boomed down the hall, and the giantess hid Kate in the closet.
I smell the blood of an English woman. Be she alive, or be she dead, I'll grind her bones to make my bread.
"You old fool," said the giantess. "You only smell the sea of fish soup I made for your breakfast,"
Oh,
said the giant. When the giant finished his soup, he cried,
bring me the knight's singing harp.
The giantess brought out a magnificent harp, the only one of its kind in the world. The harp sparkled with diamonds and rubies, and it had strings made of gold.
Sing.
Bellowed the giant. The harp began to sing a sad, haunting song. It sang of the past, of the noble knight, his lost wife and child, of golden days and starry nights. The harp's lovely song nearly broke Kate's heart. When the giant fell asleep, she crept out from behind the door, seized the harp, and ran away with it. But the harp was so frightened and sang high, fearful notes. "Quiet," said Kate. "I'm going to return you to the knight's poor widow." But the giant had already been awakened. He jumped up, and with a shout, he ran after Kate. Kate flew like the wind across the sheep meadow. She grabbed the beanstalk and started down with the harp, the giant fast on her heels. Down and down and down and down she climbed and climbed and climbed, and the giant climbed and climbed and climbed right after her. As soon as Kate's feet touched the ground, she shouted, "Mother, bring the axe! Hurry!" Kate's mother ran out with the axe, and Kate grabbed it. "Stand back, mother," Kate cried. With one mighty blow, Kate chopped the beanstalk in two. Down and down it fell, down through the sky, and down fell the giant, whoop, down into the garden, breaking his neck. The ground shook like an earthquake. Kate's mother took one look and cried out in horror, "That's the giant that killed your father!" "My father?" asked Kate. Before her mother could answer, a fairy approached in a chariot drawn by 2 peacocks. "Greetings, brave Kate," she said. "As queen of the fairies, I have long awaited to avenge the treachery done to the good knight. But first I needed to know if his daughter was worthy of her inheritance. So I disguised myself as both the beggar and the old woman, and sent you on your quest to your father's castle." "My father's castle?" Kate looked at her mother, who nodded. I never spoke of your father after he was slain," Kate's mother said. "He would have been most proud of you now." Kate hugged her mother, and they wept for sorrow and the wonder of it all. Then they climbed into the chariot and rose through the clouds to the castle that was once again theirs. Up and up and up. Kate asked the giantess to stay on as their cook. "Oh, thank you for your kindness," she said. "Would you like a biscuit and jam?" "Indeed," said Kate and her mother, and the giantess served them a biscuit as big as a cow. The end. Wow, that was a really cool book. I wish I had some magic beans like Kate, but all I have is some Christmas pole lima beans growing in our garden bed. Should we go check on them and see how tall they are getting? Okay, let's go. Here's an update on our 3 sisters' garden bed. Beans are getting really, really long. It looks like the corn hasn't been growing super tall. The corn needs lots of sun so it can grow big and tall. And then the beans will start wrapping around the corn with the tendrils. Remember we learned about the tendrils last week? They're the little spirals that attach on things like fences or other plants. Okay, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed the story of Kate and the Beanstalk. And make sure you stay tuned for next week because I'm going to show you how to make these adorable stick people, as well as some cool fairy wands. If you want to learn how to make stick people like this, then make sure you watch the next video. Bye! Load the giant. Oh my goodness, these. Shh. We're gonna take a short intermission for these crows. Goodness gracious.